Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Aiden. Welcome back to another video. Now, in case you weren't aware, Mega Leech is now out, so if you have not seen it, definitely go check it out. It was very good. Now, one thing I would like to say that I'm actually quite surprised about, Gloob did not air a new trailer today, which they usually did, or at least they have been in the past few weeks. So we do not have a new episode confirmed for next Tuesday. We don't have a new trailer out, anything like that. So just wanted to let you know that we do not have an episode scheduled for next Tuesday. So just putting that out there. But yeah, going back to Mega Leech, as usual, I wrote down some notes as I was watching the episode, so I'm going to just be going down that list for you today. Yeah, without any further ado, let's go and hop right into this video. Now, one thing in my promo analysis that I had talked about was like what's going on with this whole oxygen project, because on the outside and from what we knew from the promo, it seemed like a good idea, right? It would be taking up the bad chemicals and producing more oxygen, which I had said in that video, if that is what it did, then I would be for it. And that is sort of what they were gonna do, but they were gonna package the oxygen and sell it like as a fragrance kind of thing, right? And it's like, that's just like a Lorax thing all over again, right? And so I am against that, but if they had just converted that building to, instead of bottling up the oxygen, just like release it out into the open, so essentially just artificially create a tree, if that's what you were doing, then I'm all for that, right? And maybe not put it in a park, but put it in some other location where it could be used, and then you got a really good idea there. And so I think it's a good start, right? If they have the technology to be able to take the bad pollutants and convert it into oxygen, that's a good idea. Just don't sell it and try to make it a business, just release it out into the air. That'd be the good idea, right? So yeah, overall I think the oxygen project has a good start, but obviously it needs some work. Now, sort of on that note, the people behind it is Gabriel and Kagami's mother, and that's quite interesting, right? Because it's like, why are they doing this? Are they in it just for the money, or do they have some sort of goal outside of that? I just found it interesting to see. Well, I mean, we knew that they were working together, right? And I think we're going to see that relationship improve, and who knows, maybe the Peacock Miraculous will be passed on to Kagami's mom. That could be quite interesting if that ends up happening. We don't know, but I think she will play a bigger role in the future. But like, this is sort of out of at least Gabriel's reach, right? Like, he doesn't really do perfumes, he does fashion stuff, right? And I know Adrian is modeled for perfumes, but he is a model. That's what he does. He doesn't like his whole thing isn't like an actual oxygen business. So I don't know what's going on here. It seems a little fishy, so we may find out more about like this whole Gabriel and Kagami's mom team up kind of thing here. But for now, I think it's too early to say anything, because simply I think they're just laying the groundwork for a future episode, possibly even the finale. Now, this whole episode was Polymouse's introduction episode, and for those of you who have not seen my trailer analysis, yes, it is Polymouse, not Multi-Mouse, in case you didn't get that from the translation. Now, the one thing I wanted to touch on regarding her is that she could multiply into however many versions of herself that she wanted to, which I thought was interesting, right? Because I mean, we didn't really know if there was a limit or not, but I just thought it was cool, I guess. I don't know, it just sort of seems like OP, right? Because you could just like make millions of versions of yourself, and I don't know. I guess maybe that's just sort of the nature of the Miraculous, but I seriously feel like there's a divide in some of these things, right? Because Ladybug's Miraculous gives her some random item that ends up helping, but like there's a different item that you could have gotten that would have been way better. And Cat Noir's is basically just you get to destroy something, right? So you get to create one thing, destroy one thing, and then Polymouse is out here and you get to just multiply yourself into millions of versions of yourself, right? And here's the thing, how does that scale, right? Like, how does that power scale? Is it just you can get smaller and smaller, or you can just multiply yourself even more? Because as we know, Ladybug can only create one thing with her time limit. So as her time limit increases, she can essentially just create more and more things, right? That's what it boils down to. Same thing with Cat Noir. He can use this Cataclysm more than once within his time limit there. So how does Polymouse's time limit, or I guess by extension power, increased by that, right? Because you would think, you know, I guess maybe she can just stay, maybe it's scaled like the more that she multiplies, the less time she has or something. So just as she powers up, the longer she can stay, like maybe that's all it is. But I don't know. I feel like there are some Miraculous that are a lot more overpowered than others. Like for example, the Snake Miraculous, that thing is overpowered. Like that is the most overpowered Miraculous, one of them at least. You know, close to the Butterfly Miraculous and the Peacock Miraculous. Those two are also kind of OP. So yeah, I don't know. Just this whole thing, this whole system's a little bit weird. There's no balance. I don't understand how the Ladybug Miraculous is supposed to be the most powerful, right? Because it should be the Peacock, right? That's the most powerful. And then I think the Butterfly Miraculous, then I think the Snake, and then I'd have to think about other ones. But from now, like as far as now, I think that that's the ranking, and the you know, Ladybug Miraculous just doesn't seem that good. So I don't know. Maybe that's just my own opinion. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, at some point during this episode, Cat Noir was under Maldictator's control. And this is just another example of how the villains are stupid, because, you know, had they, you know, instead of just taking control of Cat Noir and tried to use him as like essentially a pawn, what they should have done was just, you know, took in his Miraculous, right? Because that would have essentially gotten rid of, you know, half of the main force, right? Because I mean, sure, Ladybug can distribute more Miraculous, but those more distributed Miraculous are considerably less powerful. Now, not in actual power, but as far as, you know, working as a team, because, you know, obviously Cat Noir has his Miraculous full time, right? So if they were to get rid of that, that would be a huge blow to Ladybug, right? And then it would sort of like, you know, cause Ladybug to deteriorate, because obviously Cat Noir would be taken out of the equation. She probably would have learned that it's Adrian. So just a whole, like, there's just a bunch of things that would have gone wrong had they done that. And it was super easy to, right? Because he was under their control. So it would have been really easy to do that, but they didn't. So it's just those little things that I noticed. I'm like, guys, think about it a little bit more, you know? Now, the fight to take down Mega Leech was actually really cool. I really enjoyed this episode because, you know, just seeing that teamwork, like, this is the thing that I've been wanting to see from this show for the longest time, especially throughout season 3. Like, this is the kind of teamwork I have been looking for this entire time, right? You know, I've been saying, if you go back to my old videos, I've been saying, you know, they need to stop getting rid, or they need to get rid of this, like, just Ladybug and Cat Noir formula, because they have a team. They can do cool stuff like this, even if it's unnecessary, which in this case it was necessary. But even if it's unnecessary, it would be cool to see the extra heroes in here and see how they you know, work and interact together, right? And I just thought that was really cool from this episode, and I hope that we continue to see more of it in the future. And I think that we will, just because that's sort of, you know, the nature of this season. It gets progressively more better, I suppose. That I worded that weirdly, but you know what I mean. This season's been really good so far, so I just really liked to see all the heroes come together. It was just a really nice looking episode. And speaking of nice looking episodes, I did want to touch on, is this SAMG or is this some other studio? I did not get SAMG vibes. Now, don't get me wrong, this episode definitely did look better than DQ, but I'm pretty sure that this was the studio in the middle. I don't think that this was SAMG. Just, I don't know, something was missing. Like, SAMG looks good, and then it also has that extra level of quality thrown onto it, right? Just from the animation itself. And I felt like that's what this episode was missing, right? Because it did look pretty good, you know, not, you know, like perfect like SAMG's does, but it was more so the animation where I thought that it was a little bit lacking, right? It looked a little less fluid. So I feel like that this was not SAMG, but that middle studio, right? DQ is the lowest end, and then we got the middle studio, which I think is what this episode was. Now, don't quote me on it because I don't know for sure, but that's just my guess. And then we have SAMG, the top tier. So yeah, I don't know. Overall, I thought this episode looked really good. Just, you know, not SAMG level good. But yeah, I feel like this middle studio, if it is the middle studio, is doing really good. The few episodes that they've done have looked really good as far as, you know, just overall design and rendering. So I'm really liking that, and it really just, man, because nothing's worse when you load up an episode then you see it's animated by DQ and the animation just looks like absolute garbage. And it's like, man, you know, even if, and especially if it's a subpar episode, which I think DQ does more of, right? They pick DQ to do, you know, the less popular episodes. So it's just, you know, it's a double whammy in that department if it's not you know, a particularly good episode, and then on top of that it's DQ, right? But yeah, this middle episode, or this middle studio I should say, is definitely doing pretty good, and I appreciate their effort so far. But yeah, I think that's really all I wanted to touch on with Mega Leech. Since we had so many promos and stuff about it before, I didn't have a lot to talk about in this video because I'd already said it all. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, you can leave a like and subscribe for more content similar to this, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.